Welcome to lesson 2 of the Tantric Taste. Today we're going to be talking about invoking the goddess of desire, Tripura Sundari. First, let's address why it's important to start working with a goddess and not jump straight into Tantra. So in yesterday's lesson, I share about, all the complexity of Tantra, why it's important to start with white before moving into red, what this path really looks like. But whenever we work specifically with a goddess, with a Mahavidya, we are directing our focus. It's like instead of just, playing in all of these different fields, we get to channel an energy into a specific direction and we're able to receive feedback. Why is this important? Well, because as we're receiving feedback, we can correct and we know what is the energy that we're working with. So if we're going to be working with Tripura Sundari, the goddess of desire, we know that we're going to be on that path of desire, identifying our desires, noticing them, exploring them, and using that as fuel for this tantric process. Because this specific pink tantra is rooted in Shakta Tantra, we have a deity to work with, right? It's the union of Shiva and Shakti. And Shakti has, 10 aspects of herself, and then one of them is Tripura Sundari. Whenever we look at modern sexual magic practices, they most likely fall under the category of Telema. And Telema is a path of basically connecting with one's will and then doing the practice under that. So it's love under will. In Shakta Tantra and in Pink Tantra, we are working with the energy of not my will, but the energy of Shakti, of the goddess. This is the difference. So that's why I said one of the prerequisites for this is to have some form of devotional nature already in yourself, to feel that in your heart. Why did I specifically choose Tripura Sundari for this? Well, first of all, I don't think I chose to work with her. It was whenever I decided to do this mini series and do the tantric taste. I was like, okay, well, which one? I like to start working with Kali, but a lot of people are like, no, thank you. And so I just kind of left it open. I'm like, well, it'll come whenever it comes. And it was like thunder, like immediately I just felt like it was with Sundari. Also in my the program that my online course Venusian Woman, the third pillar is like it's deeply connected with the energy of desire. And I created that before I was teaching Pink Tantra. I was practicing, but I wasn't teaching it. So it almost felt like it was like the perfect meeting point. It was weaving together unconsciously or, through the grace of Shakti. That's how it started weaving itself. So it felt like an initiation. Now, desire. This is a very interesting energy because there are so many philosophies that say, oh, desire is the root of suffering. But under the tantric path, desire is seen as the fuel for creation. And desire of itself, it's a fragmented energy, because if I have a desire, that means that I don't feel that I am that thing, or that like there's already oneness with that. This is why the whole universe was created. It was to, after Shakti removed herself, became self-aware and removed herself from Shiva, that was like that initial separation. The first desire is to reunite with Shiva, it's to return. And then there's the desires that pull you into Maya of like, well, I want to be this and that. I want to be a tree and a rock and water. And what is water? And that pure energy of desire at its purest form, it is the fuel for everything that exists. So what's the connection between desire and attachment to the desire? Tripura Sundari's light is what liberates us and helps us detach from desires itself. Because desire of its own, it's the pure raw energy. But whenever the attachment to the desire is there, that's when we are in ignorance. We are stuck, trapped in Maya. The light of Sundari in our life, of Tripura Sundari, gives us the awareness, the epiphany, the understanding that we already are that which we desire. So this is such a beautiful Mahavidya. Also, whenever we look at her imagery, she is painted as a 16-year-old girl, and she is on top of Shiva, and then there is Brahma and Vishnu, kind of like holding her under. And what is so striking to me is the importance of that number 16, because whenever we look at fairy tales, a lot of fairy tales, like the one that comes to mind right now is the Sleeping Beauty. It's the curse was on her 16th birthday, right? The prick of the finger. What happens when you prick your finger? There's red blood coming out of it. So all of these are symbols of this path, that like red. We also see that in the fairy tale of Snow White at the beginning. White as snow, red as blood, black as ebony. Those are the three tantric paths. So all of these fairy tales, they actually are encoded with all of this esoteric information about sexual alchemy. So Tripura Sundari, as being that energy of desire, if we really look at sexuality, it is because of desire. Whenever we get to puberty and we start having, like, our sexual energy starts waking up and we start developing and maturing sexually, there's a lot of desire energy. The desire of like wanting to unite, the desire for expression, the desire, like this is the awakened state. So this is the perfect taste to really get an understanding of Tantra. That's why, after I realized like it was Tripura Sundari, the one that wanted to come through, everything just clicked. It like fit together. And every time that I teach a program, right before I teach it, I have to go through some deep transformation. So whenever I was, when I taught the Mother of Life program back in the day, the 2 weeks before I started like doing the curriculum and scripting and doing all these things, that mother wound stuff came to the surface again. I had to like work through it. And so there's always this like preparation period that has happened. This is the first time that I am doing, like, this is the closest thing to a course. This tantric taste, I didn't want to just hide it behind a paid wall, because I think with Tantra, there's so much misunderstanding that, again, the best way to really explore this path is to like have a taste for it, to have an actual experience yourself. So leading up to this energy of desire, and like, what's the real desire behind all of these desires, I really had to work with it. I had to feel it. I had to move it through my body. There was a lot of chaos, and it was beautiful because it gave me a lot of resolution, and it like clarified a lot of things. So as you're doing this, it's like I'm doing it too, So and this is the magic of this kind of work. It's that we feel, even though it's a solo journey, once we start working with these Mahavidyas, and we call them the goddesses, they speak through everything, through everywhere. You're going to notice synchronicities happening. You're going to notice things in your body, in your life, with the people around you, newly found feelings, like all of this stuff starts coming up because the energy is all connected. And even if you're watching this, a year from like the time that it goes live, it's weaving through time and space. Tantra is the path of weaving. And we're not only weaving together, and we're not only weaving with our sexual partners, we are like weaving with each other as we go through this process together. So Lalita Tripura Sundari, like there's many names for her. There is Bara Tripura Sundari, Lalita Tripura Sundari, and then Bhairuva Tripura. And all of these goddesses, like, they are tantric goddesses, and they are the fuel for liberation as well. Each Mahavidya is going to have a particular taste. So because we're going to be focusing exclusively on Tripura Sundari on this series, it's very important to start contemplating her. And how do you contemplate Sundari? And it's through beauty. So one of the most important things to do in like today's lesson, today, as you do your practice after we finish, is to really feel the inner beauty that lives within you and help yourself perceive it in the outside. Allow yourself to contemplate beauty in other people. In order to contemplate beauty, we have to sit with the energy for a while. We have to Let the things that are behind, that are in between the perception and beauty kind of dissolve. And we do this through stillness. That's why yesterday's practice was about sitting down for 5 minutes and just being still and not moving, because we need to find that stillness so Sundari's light can begin entering into our lives. Beauty is the physical manifestation of Tripura Sundari. Now, desire is something that we need to explore in ourselves. And if there's like one thing that I would love for you to walk away with in today's lesson, is that desire is not the energy that pulls me towards my destination, but it's an eternal thread that transverses even life itself. How does this feel like practically? So let's say that I think that, I have a desire for that chocolate, to eat that chocolate. Once I eat that chocolate, and I satisfy the desire, then the heat of the tapas originates again. It's almost as if like another beat gets moved, and then another desire comes. If we happen to, be attached to the idea of chocolate, but then a strawberry shows up and we want the strawberry too, but we have the attachment to the chocolate, there's suffering, because it's like, I want the chocolate, but life is providing a strawberry. So it's almost like the attachment is what creates this inner constriction. But whenever we're able to let go of the attachment and just feel the desire of itself, we realize like, oh my God, actually, that strawberry, that's what I want. That was a little bit of a silly example. Let's do it in relationships. Let's say that you want somebody and you have a desire for that person. If you attach to that person, it's like you're like entrapping them energetically, and then you're suffering, and the energy is icky because it's like, nothing can move. But whenever I'm like, okay, a desire has been triggering me, and I let go, which means like it's like I just, instead of like pulling energy onto the person, I'm like into myself, back into the desire of its own becomes its own fuel. And then all of a sudden it's like the energy naturally gravitates, and it's like you start moving through them. And this is a path, meaning like you can navigate your life in the experience of desire, as long as you don't attach yourself to those things that you're desiring. If you're able to create that spaciousness in yourself, to not hold on to the object of my desire, but to simply feel the energy of desire in my body, desire of itself can become a path. There's another path, masculine paths, that is like the renunciation of all desires. This is not what this is. This is Shakti Tantra. This is pink Tantra. This is like the weaving together. And as women, being able to, be the embodiments of Maya, be like the feminine manifestation of the Maya of humans, like we get a unique opportunity to really navigate through those energies and let the nature of who we are guide us. So there is no like restriction of discipline in this path. It's more like a spaciousness and openness and surrender and softness. That's why it's a feminine path. One of the biggest lessons that Tripura Sundari gives us is the understanding of the triad of creation, meaning that you are able to see yourself as the experiencer, observe the object of your desire, and the act of experiencing itself. That's the triad of creation. So it's like me, the observer, whatever I'm observing, and the observing of itself. So Sundari allows us to create this experience within ourselves, with our body, where I'm able to see myself, I'm able to recognize my body, and I'm able to recognize the experiencing of my body. I'm aware these are, very mental, transcendental concepts. So I'm going to give you a few questions to begin contemplating and feeling that energy. The most important thing is to understand, like, we need to create that internal spaciousness. So I can recognize, like, my inner Shiva, which is like, okay, the observer, my inner Shakti, which is the body, like the Shakti of the body, for example, right? And then the experiencing of the body. That triad, that triangle, like that is the highest transcendental truth of this work and of the energy that Sundari is going to give us. Now, to really contemplate desires, I want you to ask yourself and journal if necessary, what sexual desires do you have? Which desires feel the most exciting to you? What desires of itself have the most power in you? So what's the difference between that question and the sexual desire? That the sexual desire feels down. You can feel it like in your root, in your sacral, just this like energy. The desire that's like, oh my God, this desire expands me, you're gonna feel it right here in the heart. It's like, this is what I want the most in life. So contemplate those two things. And also contemplate what are the desires that you have that bring you despair because they're not here yet. That will also give you a lot of information to start working with, so you can have awareness as we continue moving through this journey together. And this is a good one. How do you get what you want when you really want something? This is more like a shadow work question. Because it's like, okay, if you really want something, what do you do to get it? There's like the, masculine movements of like, I go after it, I move energy out. Then there's the feminine movements of like, I pull energy in. Then there's the shadowy spaces of like, I manipulate, I do this, be honest with yourself. Nobody's going to read this. There's no homework to submit. This is for you. But like, get really honest with how is it that you get your desires, because that is also showing us very important part of the shadow that might come up whenever we start moving the sexual energy. But if it's already been brought to the light, then it's no longer hidden. And that's the whole premise under shadow work, is like we bring it to the light and it's no longer in the shadows. So the entire premise of today of contemplating desire in yourself, understanding that this is like the primary energy that we'll be working through in the next few days as we continue on this journey, that is going to help you organize your own inner universe. Meaning that if something comes up, you know that we're working under the umbrella of desire, under the umbrella of Tripura Sundari. So how does that fit under the category of desire? I know, like, in this moment, it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it's going to make sense once you, like, the things start popping up and you're like, holy, I see it. Like, this is this desire. This is like this suffering, this pain is because I'm suffering because I am attached to this specific desire. So today is more of a contemplation. Do those questions. I think they will really help you get started, and then just go on, just continue observing yourself throughout the day and how you respond to certain stimuli, how you react to certain things, and what is the primary motivation that you have for doing whatever you do. So there's 3 activities that we're going to do today. And this is all preparation for tomorrow, because tomorrow you're going to receive the activation of her mantra. And this is like, tomorrow will be the first day when you start chanting. So in order to do that, we're going to first create a space for that. So first thing is that you are going to make an altar for Sundari. In the workbook, which you can download in the description box below, there is an image of Tripura Sundari, and then there's also her yantra. You can print them out or just put them on an iPad, get creative, draw it, do whatever you like, but use her imagery. And then you're going to need a red cloth, a candle, and if you don't have a red cloth, use paper. And then also bring in some flowers or herbs from your kitchen, or go outside and find a beautiful plant and ask the earth, and offer it for it. But create a little altar for Sundari. Why altars? This isn't like religious. This is energy, All of these energies are flowing around. They're in our body. There's so many things that we don't see. Whenever we create an altar, we're anchoring down a certain intention into the 3-dimensional reality. That is very powerful of itself. And the power of the altar is almost like, I see it as writing a love letter to the divine and saying like, hello, I'm Silvana, and I would like to invite you into my life. So here I'm offering you this little flower from my garden. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be anything big. Like I have a traveling altar because I travel a lot. So all of my deities, all of my stuff, they're like laminated papers because that was the easiest thing for me. And I have a little candle over there. Actually, I have a little portable candle holder too. So it's like I have my little portable altar. So it can be something extremely simple. Don't think that you have to like buy an actual statue. If you like to go big, then yes, make a big altar. But it's the intention that really matters. So that's like the first exercise. Second exercise, it's a candle ritual. So for this, you're going to need either a pink, a white, or a red candle. One of those long candles that are, I don't know what they're called. It's not the big pillar candles, it's the little ones that burn within, 20 minutes. And this candle ritual is for desire and magnetism. So once you set the altar, right, we call it the deity, this is more of like you using your willpower, your intention, and the elements to make that intention alive. And you want to grab some essential oils, whatever you have. If you don't have essential oils, grab some olive oil from the kitchen, and you're going to anoint the candle, and you're going to just put your intention to connect with the energy of the purest form of desire in you, of magnetism, of beauty, that's all you need. You just need is the intention. If you like to carve the candle, you can do that. You can write down your name. You can write down like beauty, magnetism, Tripura Sundari, whatever you want to write on it. But make sure that like in that anointment process, you're really just putting all your energy, intention into it. You can add herbs on it too, whatever. Think of things that like smell good, feel good, things that are beautiful. So like you can use roses, lavender. I like to use rosemary, basil, whatever you want. Just why? Because these are things from the earth. And for rituals, like we're using the elements to connect with divine energies. So make sure you do that and then burn down the candle. And then the third one is I'm gonna put a link to a YouTube video, and this is her 40 names. What you want to do is, as you're doing this, or maybe after you do this, you want to play this recording. This is a recording of all of her names. It's about 40 minutes. You don't have to like be like super, concentrated on it. But if I were doing this like from scratch, I will probably play the 40 names, as then the 40 names are playing on the background. I'm doing the altar, and then I'm doing the candle ritual. For me, like today's exercise, it's about offering a little flower, offering intention, offering fire, offering earth to the divine, to invite those energies. Because tomorrow we're gonna do an activation. So this is, for me, this is like foundational work. I have an altar. I lighten up every day just to keep those energies alive in my life every day. But at the very least for this week, for today, make sure you do that before we do the mantra activation. If you're unable to do this because you don't have a candle and it's gonna be super difficult to find the candle, then don't do the activation. Just wait. First do this and then do the mantra activation. And yeah, with that, I leave you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.